FedEx full, we commanding the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, ain't no need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Command is moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. K-Dot in the mid, dissect the grind. District divider with a city in mind. Trying to dance why, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the words, or shit is shit. K-Dot.
Woo! Let's go!
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically a Washington Commanders podcast. But, hey, listen, we clinched a playoff berth the first time since 2020, so, yeah, we're a little discombobulated right now. My voice is all over the place. K-Dot's camera is being adjusted, and I am with him. That is K-Dot. Welcome to Shades Monday, where Jayden's first ever overtime game, walk-off touchdown, 30-24 winners. So we're going to get into our post-game thoughts, recap. We're going to quickly touch on the playoff picture. Once again, we clinched a playoff spot tonight, which was epic. And then we are going to get into the comment mailbag as we always do. But before we begin this episode, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Got another poem. It's not as good as the other poems, just because I was kind of rushing through everything. Commanders took it in an OT fight. Daniels lit up the cold, dark night. Reeves dropped to one knee, ring in hand, locked down love in playoff land. Atlanta's out. We don't quit. Philly's very quiet. Now share this shit.
Share this shit. We greatly appreciate it. And so, without further ado, let's get into the game. So, once again, Commanders win. First time we've got 11 wins in 33 years. I'm 33. The first time since basically I was born that this team has 11 wins on a season, and we didn't even need the 17th game to do it. 11-5 record right now. Good for the 6th seed, and again, we'll touch on that in just a bit here. The Falcons dropped to 8-8. I was at the game, so this is why the voice is the way it is. K-Dot, I would love to hear your thoughts because you also had the broadcast, and you probably had a much better sense of what was going on with the help of Collinsworth Tirico as well. So what were your thoughts?
Woo, playoffs! This game, look, they fell for all the traps that I didn't want them to fall for at certain points in this game.
I can confirm that.
Penalties at the most inopportune times, the one penalty snowballing into other bullshit where it's like, dude, I think you guys could do something offensively. Can you just string some stuff together? And then even defense is like, dude, you guys had a good stop there. Why the penalty? Why? But overall, regardless, Jayden Daniels is him. He is him. He is him. Praise the Lord. Praise Coach Gibbs. He is him. Dude, there were moments in this fucking game. I don't know if you ever, it's pretty inside, but, well, that's not really inside. Everybody knows about this. I remember playing with my cousins, Madden 2004, and you had somebody who would play with Mike Vick and just run all over the fucking place, just annoyingly. You couldn't do anything about it. Yep. That was Jayden Daniels tonight, baby. Like, third down. Oh, you think you're going to stop me? And then do it so effortlessly. The only dude I've ever seen approach that effortlessly is usually Lamar Jackson, who could just, arm sauntering out. Jayden got that motherfucker beat as far as just he's going you can't even tell he's going that fast until you start really looking at the other people on the field. You're like, dude, he is blowing by everybody.
He's thin too. He is so elusive.
The shit don't look right, but it's but it works and it's awesome. And look, I've been anti putting the team on his back, but surely he can do it. It's just you cannot do this and sustain anything for long periods of time. At least you don't want to. He got hit a lot in this game. But Jesus Christ, man, that motherfucker can ball. He can ball. No doubt he can ball. We got some deficiencies in places, but he can ball.
If you don't mind, let's pull up the box score that you've put together. Thank you. And so first thing that K-Dot had mentioned, look, 13 penalties is not going to get it done. And there were so many at inopportune times over and over and over. But then you look at, Jayden Daniels 24 of 36, 227 yards, 3 touchdowns, including the walk-off to Ertz, a pick, which credit to the Falcons defense. It was a really nice stunt that they ran. He thought he had it, and Caden Ellis actually drops back, their leading sacker, into coverage to get that. But then he also has, the numbers on the ground, the 16 carries for 127 yards. He was incredible. And shout out Olamide Zaccheaus as well. 8 catches, 85 yards, and a touchdown. K-Dot had mentioned before this game that his player of the game was going to be whoever was going to be wide receiver 2. And that happened to be Zaccheaus, who had a huge impact on the game. On the subject of Jayden, this is now the second straight game where he has put the team on his back, and he has sort of willed us to victory. The Tyler Biadasz injury was huge. So when he goes out, Michael Dieter comes back in. Very first play, it's not Dieter's fault, but there's a sack. So that one's coincidental, but the pressure that Jayden felt the rest of the game was obvious. At least in the stadium, people were just sort of like, we were looking, all of us in our section, were looking at Tyler Biadasz the whole time. We're like, okay, he's working with the backup lineman right now. All right, cool. He's reaching
on TV.
Like, we're literally just looking at, and then we're looking back at the play. And then we're looking at Tyler after the play, and then we're looking back at the play. But you're missing Biadasz in game. You're missing Wiley. Like, you're missing 2/5 of the line. Jayden had to do what he had to do. He got sacked a few times, got sacked 5 times, but when it mattered, he made play after play after play after play, especially in the overtime. People can certainly point to the final minute 19 where we had the incompletion. I thought he threw a pretty good ball to Zaccheaus. I didn't even see if it got tipped or if it was dropped. I have no idea. But in OT, when we finally got that chance, thank God Riley Patterson missed that 53-yarder. The man took over, and he's led us to, honestly, a historic season. He's having the best rookie season arguably anyone's ever had at this point. Like, it's unprecedented what he's doing right now. He's making it look like college, K-Dot. It's starting to look like he's at LSU again. It's crazy.
Yeah, every once in a while you have the guy that shows up and you can clearly just see, oh, he's the best guy on the field. And it's not close. You have that every once in a while. Usually if you got like a pocket passing quarterback, it's not shown because you're not going to see the level of athleticism. But Cam Newton at one point was that guy. Michael Vick at one point was that guy. The only thing I'm looking at with Jayden Daniels is that you look at the ball he throws compared to what he can do athletically. There's just, in the way he looks doing it, I've never quite seen this. Like I said, the closest I'm going to get to it is Lamar Jackson. And even I'm looking at the confines of what it is they were doing in Baltimore as far as that offense went with Greg Roman, or where they had first and then traveling to Greg Roman. They didn't really ask Lamar to do the things they're asking Jayden to do, at least early on. Don't get me wrong. I think Lamar Jackson's incredible. But the fact that I'm talking about a rookie quarterback for the Washington Commanders and I'm comparing him to Lamar Jackson in any sort of sense just gives you an idea of where the fuck we are, right? But I mean, yeah, Jayden and the heroics were absolutely awesome, but I got to give credit. Like, if I'm giving credit to the whole team to a certain degree, and trust me, I'll get into some more of the negative stuff at some point. I know we're all just celebrating the playoff. We have a playoff. We at least know we're in the playoffs. But
correct. Coming
out of the second half, there are the two drives that I think damn near define our season. The 15 play. 69 yards for 7 minutes, 47 seconds.
To open the half,
To open the half. Then after Atlanta goes 3 and out, you couple that with the 14 play, 70 yards, and then 7 minutes off the fucking clock. You start looking at it, it was like, what is happening? What the hell is going on? And that's I know that to see what it is we were doing in the first half compared to what was going on in the second half. I know that you pointed to some of what was happening with the offensive line. I will say this is why I love Collinsworth, Tarico, and the NBC crew. They do a good job of keeping you involved with everything. You could see Dieter was doing some good things as far as in a couple run blocking schemes, but that came with Cliff Kingsbury really opening up the playbook maybe more than we've seen it all season long, just trying to generate something. There were some really interesting wrinkles that were happening as far as in the offense. There was that fake double reverse quarterback.
Just the B-Rob direct snap. And then there was another one where Jayden's rolling with
There was the other one with Jayden drops out and he's got 2 linemen leading the chuck and charge and no one knows what's happening. Like there was some, it was insane. Like there was just something Cliff was like, all right, we got to do this. We got to try this. We got to try this. And that's something where like, if you want to compare this team to last season, as far as halftime adjustments, like, holy shit. But then also just from a mentality standpoint, you also saw Allegretti ended up being the guy who was calling out all the protections and everything for the offensive line. And that's something that I didn't necessarily see last time Dieter was in. I thought that they were having Dieter try to do it. He just wasn't doing a good job of it. So once again, you got a team that learned, right? And in the process of learning, they saw Allegretti can do this better than you can, Dieter. Let's do that. And you could see it was working just a bit better. There are some things as far as Jayden, especially early on in the game. I mean, it happened throughout the game. If it wasn't for Jayden and what he was doing with his legs, there were some wrinkles that were causing some issues there for him. And it's something that we've seen kind of all season. Atlanta, and I said this in the pre-show, Atlanta loves showing you something as far as on the defensive line and dropping one of those linebackers or dropping somebody back into coverage. And that's something that Jayden just isn't. I don't think he's a rookie. He'll get better at it. It's just something that you get some defense coordinators and defenses know, hey, they might have some trouble with this. If we're able to do it, let's do it to him, right? So you look at like the pick that he threw. That is something he's reading pre-snap. Look, if I got the blitzer coming, I know what the hot read is. I'm going to throw it there. And he saw what he saw pre-snap. As soon as he goes, he got the free blitzer in his face, just gets rid of the ball. And you can tell as soon as he releases, he's like, oh no, oh no, I read that wrong. And he's immediately, it's on me. It's on me. Yeah. So, like, there was adversity in this game that they had to overcome. And there came at certain points in the game where it was like, you start getting annoyed with the rest of the team. It's like, hey, when are you going to show up for Jayden? God damn it. And then some of the guys start stepping up. And another really big thing, he did it without Terry. Like, he did do it. He could not connect with anything in this game. And, that to me, I mean, shout out to AJ Terrell. He played his ass off. Boy, that motherfucker was legit. He was legit. But to see Jayden actually get into Zaccheaus ended up being a really, really good safety valve. Zach Ertz with yak this time around.
His best game for us for sure.
Oh, easily by far. Like this is one of those games where you look at some of the guys and you're like, oh, that's your defining game so far with us. Zach Ertz, defining game with us. Zaccheaus, defining game with us. Chris Rodriguez, defining games with us. Yeah. Everybody had their moments where they stepped up at certain points where it was like, all right, we're here for you, JD. We got it. We got you. It just took a minute for everybody to get there. Once we were there, they helped out as best as they could.
It did. Let's quickly touch on the defense before we move on to playoff talk and stuff like that. Yeah. What were your thoughts on the defense overall? And let's also walk through that last drive after that. So overall defensive thoughts, and then let's talk about the last drive.
Defensive thoughts. They didn't do a good job this game. There were a couple good stops that they had, especially like the 3 and out coming in the second half. Great job on that. But overall, I saw Penix miss a lot of shit. It wasn't necessarily the defense was doing anything. You just missed it. There were a couple bombs that we were like, holy shit. If that was ball was just a little bit better, this stat line looks terrible. Mm-hmm. We have a cornerback problem. There's no getting around it. It is a major fucking issue. Even my man, Mikey Sanders, still at one point, I'm looking through my notes because I know I said something about Mike. It probably wasn't the nicest thing. I can't even find it.
Oh, he got cooked on 4th down. When they needed to have it, Penix threw it to the left to Drake London, and they ended up getting in the red zone off of that, and that was on Mikey.
Yep. That was it was bad. It was really bad. And then the penalty that he had on the field goal attempt.
Oh, that turned into 7 points for them. Yep.
Yeah.
Offside.
And that was the thing that was just annoying me all game. Was like I kept going back every time I write a stat. Or I write something down, I'd be like, snowball. They're snowballing. It's happening again. Because it would always happen like a series of 2 or 3 things. And usually it would end with Atlanta scoring points. So it's like, you fucking assholes. Could you stop doing that? Although I will admit, Cosme did have one terrible call against him. And then he had another one that was absolutely dead on. But yeah, I love this. At one point during the game, it was sometime in the third quarter, NBC flashes that this is when we had only converted, I think, like 1/3 down up until that point.
Okay.
And like our average was 17 yards to go.
This is nuts, dude.
And that's just you get behind the sticks, and Collinsworth kept pointing out stuff that I've been talking about in the All 22 is like when they're behind the sticks, it limits a lot of what they can do, and they're not anywhere near as potent. And the only thing they have is basically Jayden overcoming. And
Right.
the thing is, like he's still said, put it on my like I could take this. And I don't want that to be the case.
Yeah. In fact, talking about that long drive real quick and then back to the defense. Oh, no, you're fine. On that long drive, it must be noted there was not one but two holding calls that could have killed the drive. So that was Cliff as well as Jayden just throwing the kitchen sink at the problem and going, we need to score here or else we run into the issue of we haven't, back to the defense now, we haven't stopped Bijan Robinson. Penix is stopping himself because a lot of the times, a lot of the throws were off for Michael Penix. When he needed them, kid's a gamer. Like, I mean, he makes the 4th down throw on that final drive on Sanderstill, and then he makes the 4th and goal throw from the 13 or wherever it was. And it was like, yo, it was the far end zone for us. We're like, did he actually catch that?
It was a repeat of what we did against Philly.
Yeah. But to put that, it wasn't the biggest window. Like he just put that on a rope. And it was just like, well, shit. Well, shit. And then they get the ball back and almost immediately march down. Thank goodness they didn't take a timeout at the beginning. I don't really understand why they didn't.
No,
Okay, cool. Very thankful they didn't call that timeout. But it was the trust of the defense is quite low right now. Without Lattimore having, it wasn't even. And by the way, St. Juice is such an easy target. Just to be clear, he did not play much this game, and when he was in, he didn't do anything wrong. Like,
there's a scapegoat.
Oh, who's your scapegoat?
Michael Davis.
Well, that's fair, but it was going to be one or the other, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, so I get it.
Yeah.
Here, this motherfucker we don't like right now.
We have a corner problem. We have a corner problem, like you said. Noah was good.
Noah's fine. Noah's fine. Noah was doing what Noah does.
Flying on this defense is like, oh my god, like can I get you?
Yeah,
like this?
But Michael Davis, god damn son. And I did find my line about Mikey. I said Drake London beat the everlasting fuck out of Mikey on that 4th down play. I said, win or lose, you need to be watching tape and running drills tomorrow, Mikey. Like that shit. That was ugly. I want it noted because people may not notice or may not have noticed. Benjamin St. Just, I'm pro BSJ today. He was on Drake London when Penix threw the pick, and he was all over Drake London. Didn't put his hands on him. Just great coverage. Watch the replay. Great coverage from BSJ on Drake London. He gets so much fucking shit, man. Like, yo, you did well in that play. And Quan ends up getting the pick. So just shout out BSJ. Like, man, overall,
we got a corner problem.
The defense, yeah, we have a corner problem. Like,
it's
Marshawn, get your shit together, man. Figure out the fucking hamstring.
Someone massage that hamstring. I don't know what to do. Yeah.
But Dallas next week and the rest of the playoffs.
I'll tell you right now. If it's the same hamstring, he's not playing.
Yeah, and that's a problem. So yeah. It's a problem. It's a major fucking problem. And also, like the rest of the defense, pass rush was not doing what it needed to do on a consistent level at all. Some of the run, it's like I've been saying, I don't think we're good at stopping the run. Period. Even when we have those games where like you see that like maybe we held somebody to a certain amount of yardage, I just think it's more game flow. Than it is that we did anything to stop them.
17 carries for 90 yards, 2 touchdowns for Bijan Robinson. Algier only had 3 carries. When we were doing the pre-show, we were talking about how Bijan's hitting at least 22 carries since the bye, and Algier is from 8 to 12 carries. Algier, 3 carries, 19 yards, a long of 8, which means that he's getting 8, 5, 5. Like, that's how you get to your 19. Like, they just stopped. I don't know why. I'm glad.
It was game flow. There was some game flow stuff that you could see that, okay, we need to get this chunk. Or then they started doing dumb shit and putting themselves behind the sticks at certain points in time. So they couldn't do it. It's why I keep going back to the best recipe for success of this team And this is why I was so adamant about, we need to throw the ball. We need a lead. You need a lead. You need a lead now in order to be able to do what we need to do defensively, which is to pin our ears back. But very quiet day from Frankie Louvu. Very quiet day from Bobby Wagner. How Pitts started going, and that was fucking annoying to see.
Caught the touchdown.
Highly fucking annoying to see.
Mm-hmm.
The worst, just the worst penalties. You had the offsides for Sammerstow. You had the PI on Davis. You had the roughing on Fowler, which was inexcusable, dude.
Yeah.
As soon as it was like, yeah, you did that, bro. You did that.
I will also say I would love your perspective or the Collinsworth Tirico perspective. The pass interference to set up the Riley Patterson field goal that ultimately he missed. That would have ended the game had Riley Patterson made it. Was that before? It felt like what they showed on the screen at Northwest Stadium, it looked like it was more of an illegal contact. Was it actually pass interference? Like, was the ball was in the air when that happened?
Nobody was questioning it.
Okay. In the stadium, I mean, obviously we're biased.
We can hear you guys.
Okay, cool. Yeah. We were,
but
we respectfully disagreed.
It felt like one of those things where you just hear the crowd and in your head, you're like, "Those dumbasses."
Okay. We were on that side. It was our turn to be that. All right, cool.
Y'all were loud though. I mean, I will say that and they kept referring back to that. So you got, as far as anyone that was there at Northwest Stadium,
it was loud.
Yeah, everybody like Tirico, Collins, they were like, "Yo, this place."
Okay, it's cool. And
shout out, we haven't felt like this in 20 years.
Yeah, shout out Josh Harris as well, because the upgrades around the stadium. This is my first time back in some time, honestly, and it was awesome. I mean, it felt like a new stadium. It was really, really cool. Now, of course, it's still FedEx, and you could still see a lot of the old features, but some of the new stuff was super cool. The lights, that was so cool before the game and stuff like that. So just shout out those guys, because they are really working hard to make this a better product, both on the field and with the stadium and off the field and stuff like that. I mean, they're working on it, doing a great job.
I don't give a shit about any of it. The on the field product is
that's all I care about, just to be clear. But if it's cool enough that I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like,
I'm still not going to any games. But it's too much. It's too much.
That's fair.
Like when they get the stadium in the city, and I can just easily take the metro and not walk. I don't know how I don't know about you, but when you take the metro out to that stadium, I feel like, but both two in front of the stadium are both uphill. How does that happen? like, what the fuck is that bullshit?
Yeah, well, it's a little.
No, it's bullshit. You're supposed to give me a break, right?
On the plus side, you can roll the first part, but then you have to walk up.
Oh, fuck out of here.
No, everybody does. Everybody was rolling. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the playoff picture. And it's now important because the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings played a pretty consequential game in terms of where we now sit, thanks to our win against the Atlanta Falcons. So because the Packers lost to the Minnesota Vikings,
the best team in the NFC.
Best team in the NFC, some say. The Washington Commanders got the opportunity to tie the Green Bay Packers in record. We have done so with that win against the Falcons. We have a better conference record than the Green Bay Packers. So because of that, we are now the 6th seed. So a lot of talk has been around playing Philadelphia round 1, who were locked in the 2 seed, essentially. I think it's official now that they're locked in the 2 seed, but I need to double check.
Yes.
Okay, they are locked in the 2 seed. So they are going to play the 7 seed. As of right now, it's the Green Bay Packers. So that's why that was so important, because now, as it stands, we would be playing the Los Angeles Rams, and it potentially provides a different path over here. So just wanted to let you know. The deal is, if we lose to the Dallas Cowboys and the Packers win, well, then we fall back to the 7 seed. We're going to be playing the Philadelphia Eagles. If we win, well, boom, we're the 6th seed, plain and simple. If we lose and the Packers lose, well, then we are still the 6th seed. So just wanted to lay that all out real quick. K-Dot, anything to add? Your thoughts, anything like that? I know you're rooting for the Falcons to win the division, but outside of that?
Yeah, fuck the NFC South.
Okay.
No, it's just I still want the Eagles, but there's no denying after seeing this weekend of football that I want to keep the Rams as my pick. It's even McVay was doing some stuff where I was like, what are you doing? Like, it was like the first time I ever really truly questioned Sean McVay and like, are you going to really be this conservative, dude? Like, what is happening right now? So yeah, they don't look good. They don't look good. I thought they'd turn on, but I those they'd be like one of those sneaky teams where it's like, all right, they're pulling out wins, but it just did not look good at all. So I mean, if you just want to get as far as you can get in the playoffs, there's no denying you'd much rather have to go up against the Rams than you would the Eagles. But that being said, I don't like that matchup against the Rams either, just because of what their offense can do and what I just saw with our cornerbacks.
Right. And they also have a Super Bowl winning coach, a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Cooper Kupp's also a number of players on that roster have won a Super Bowl before. So they've been in the dance and they know how to win in the dance. So like you're factoring that in too.
The only positive I could see about playing in LA, there will be a lot of Commanders fans.
Yes, that is a really, really good point. But anyway, all to say that, and we will talk about it all in our Cowboys preview because there's going to be questions. Some people are going to want us to rest and sort of take the bye and then just play as the 7 seed basically. And then there are others, there you go, K-Dot, like you and me, that are going to be like, go for it. Play your guys. This year has always been about testing the limits, seeing what the culture is, establishing that, and included in that is pushing. So we're going to go ahead and see what Dan Quinn says. I suspect it's going to be aligned with what you and I are thinking, but you never know.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't. I mean, you might see it on individual players.
Mm-hmm.
So like, okay, this guy needs rest and he'll clearly be good to go for the playoff. But I don't see anybody that's not on the injury report not playing. And not playing their all in every single one of these games. I just don't. Yeah, you don't fuck around with that. It's just one of those things where it's like just you don't have the luxury.
Right.
And look, we know what happened coming off that bye week against the fucking Saints. It ain't like that helped us out too much. So it's like I'm just play it out. Plus, we need for my own benefit run the tape.
If someone's that's fair. If someone's playing with a truly brutal injury that they have just been absolutely gutting through and a week off would help. Okay, fine. Understood. Outside of that, go. Let's play some ball and let's finish the season 12-5. That'd be epic. Any final thoughts here, K-Dot, before we move to the common mailbag?
We're recording this. It's 1:30 in the morning. You were there at Northwest Stadium.
Yes.
I have chicken nuggets that I haven't eaten in my goddamn air fryer. I'm just remembering right now. It's been a night. I'd like to have more energy as far as what's going on with and I think I will come the all 22 episode after I get to rewatch this one. It's just I get really frustrated by some of the sloppy shit. There's been a lot of slop in the last 2 games, by the way. I know we've won both. Running parallel to Jayden being Superman is all the bullshit that has been coming, whether it be penalties, whether it be not being able to run the ball, whether it be turnovers. A lot of that has come. In this game, it was penalties in particular and a defense we couldn't trust. And then last week, it was the turnovers and the lack of run game and So hopefully that stuff gets cleared up because we did go on that little run very early on in the season where we didn't have many penalties. We were running the ball. Everything was humming. Those were the really, really good times. Let's see if we can get back into that just in time for the playoffs here. So I think I'm along the lines of Dan Quinn is like, do you look at it as a positive? Like, hey, we can overcome things. Or do you say, knock it off?
Knock it off.
That's what I think.
Yeah. No. Listen, it's like, hey, cool. Good news. Thanks to all of you. We figured out that he's a superhero because he was put in that position.
He got hit a lot.
But now, exactly, because we threw the kitchen sink at it, we had to take a timeout, literally, so that he could catch his breath. Like, it was, this is not long-term sustainable. This was I'm willing us into the playoffs performance. It's exactly what he did. He should not do that next week. Anyway, with that, let's go ahead and go to the common mailbag, which features an intro from our very own Nikki.
Comment mailbag time, motherfuckers. District divided, ain't got time for no suckers. Spread the word, get in line. OGs and new G's, it's your time. And spread the gospel, cause this shit is divine. Yeah.
All right, thank you as always for that, Nikki. Appreciate it. Beginning with Tony. Shout out, Tony. Oh, gee. I noticed YouTube deleted my comment on your previous pod. I wanted to grab a beer before the Falcons game if you were going to be there. Well, Tony and I actually did get the opportunity to meet. Shout out, Tony. First time meeting somebody that I didn't already know prior to the podcast. And this was just a really, really cool moment. In the background is his son, Rashawn, who got a signed Jayden Daniels helmet, by the way. He just won that in like a raffle or something, which was dope. So shout out both of them. Tony, it was absolutely awesome meeting you. And the next time we will absolutely grab a beer. I ran a little bit late, honestly. Got there in time for the game, 20 minutes early, but not enough time to actually have a beer with Tony. So Tony, next time we will absolutely have a beer together.
Did you go solo or you like go with a group?
An electric game. Went with Andrew Lally, who's been on this pod a few times. He was with us on the Bears live stream, not last season, but 2 seasons ago, and also in the draft coverage. So yeah, shout out Andrew Lally as well, of course. We had an epic time. Absolutely epic time. We now go to Big Papa Grizzly. Shout out. Amit, that feeling of certainty, the kind of feeling that Patriots fans had with Brady or Chiefs fans have with Mahomes. Yeah, that's a nice feeling. It sure is, because he did it again. That touchdown pass, a walk-off touchdown pass on 3rd and goal to Zach Ertz. And here we are in the playoffs. Here we are, 11-game season. Playoffs for the first time since 2020. And 11-win season for the first time since 1991, and hope for the first time since 2012, and real hope for the first time since I don't know how long. Get out over to you.
It's a great feeling knowing that you feel secure that the guy with the ball is probably going to do the right things and not the wrong things. I will say there are a couple guys that I still wince when they have the ball. I'm still not necessarily fully comfortable. Jayden is one of those guys. Joe Burrow's another one. I don't like that they get hit the way that they get hit. I don't know if you guys could see. I mean, sure, they showed it on the replay where he got rolled up.
Oh, my Lord. We all held our breath.
You want to talk about, like, I almost, like, shat myself. Like, I was like, oh, my God.
When his knee bent back. Oh, my goodness. I forgot which running back was pass blocking at that time, but he got blown up. That changed.
It was bad. The pass blocking from the running back.
It was horrible. Like the whole thing got blown up, and then all of a sudden, Jayden's getting. Yeah, it was. Knock on wood. I'm so glad he's okay, and ended up having.
So that's still what makes me uncomfortable. Is like I don't, and I know it. That's why it's like I should just be completely elated, but I feel like I almost got PTSD that I like went through a bunch of trauma tonight. Because I saw my quarterback get hit as much as he did.
Well, yeah. No, seriously. And in fact, it was so funny. So right after that, Lally and I were like, you know what'd be great in like the 5th round is like a running back that's great in pass protection. Like we just started talking about that. We were like, man, we just started thinking about, okay, this is still a recalibration/rebuild. What else?
His name is Ashton Gentry, and you're going to have to pick him in the 1st round.
We're not.
And you're not going to regret it because you need him.
Anyway, that's for another time.
Just saying, you see Lamar Jackson with Derrick Henry? That shit looks special.
This is true. Big Papa Grizzly with another comment. The Eagles' Super Bowl victory and its consequences has been a disaster for the human race. It even has a thumbs up there, kid, presumably from you.
Well, I never go to the comments really, but yeah, okay. I no notes.
No notes.
Should be a book written on it.
I mean, I don't have any evidence to the contrary there, Big Papa. I believe you're right. We go over to Brandon Crittenden. Shout out. They cannot take Atlanta lightly at all, man. I want this playoff spot locked up by the end of the day tomorrow. Good news. We locked it up. But to your point, Brandon, I don't know that they took Atlanta lightly. I just don't know that we were able to stop them when they were running their game plan at their flow. Because when they were running the ball, we didn't really have a solution. So, yeah. K-Dot?
Yeah. Like I said, I know everybody's like fucking crazy. You just got to be honest about it. I felt pretty secure up until that interception in the game against the Eagles. This game, I felt secure about nothing. After I saw the beginning of the game, first drive was like, we're about to throw these motherfuckers. Then it became, we're going to do a bunch of dumb shit this game because it just wasn't stopping. And then when we kicked a field goal and left that much time, I'm like, they can run the ball again. It's not okay. It's not okay. I didn't feel good. I just didn't feel good about it. Atlanta. I like Atlanta.
No, you could see the talent. You could see it was obvious. The talent was obvious with the Atlanta Falcons. And actually, there were
Penix
fans at the game, so I was surprised. I wasn't expecting to see that many, but there were a number of Atlanta Falcons fans over there. And here's one right now. Swole 6630 shout out. I'm a Falcons fan. This podcast is funny as fuck. With the crying laughing emoji. 3 thumbs ups over there. K-Dot, your reaction.
Legit. Share this shit around your Atlantean compadres. Just a minor history lesson. Up until a certain point in time, the Washington Redskins was the team of the South. There was no other team south of the Mason-Dixon. So there are a lot of former Redskins fans all sprinkled throughout. And I know that they then became Atlanta Falcons fans and Jacksonville Jaguars fans and Carolina Panthers fans. But I know where your heart really is. Just come back home.
Come back home. Just come back home. Swell. Share this shit. Subscribe. Like the video. Come back home. Let's go to Mr. Payne. Shout out, Mr. Payne. We had 5 turnovers and 1. This is, of course, in reference to the prior game against the Philadelphia Eagles. So JD threw 5 touchdowns. We won not because Hurts got hurt, which is a part of football, but we have a quarterback that analyzed and conquered the Pigeons' defense. That's 1. The other from Mr. Payne. Pigeons, midgets, and cowgirls can all go to hell. We in command of the NFC East going forward. K-Dot, don't let those fools get under your skin. K-Dot, your reaction.
Too late. Their existence gets under my skin. So there's nothing we can do about that. Like, they don't have to say shit. Just me knowing they exist is a problem for me. It's kind of like knowing genocide is a thing. Like, it's not okay. Like, It's just a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Eagles fans. Genocide. AIDS. Not okay.
We go to you caught me off guard. We go to Jamal sorry, this is a very long name and I got shades on, so it's a bit difficult to read. Jamal Bibi Shah is we'll go with for now. It's a long name. I apologize. There's a lot more. I'm sorry. It's just true. What the Eagle fans don't realize is that they may not win another game against us for the next few years. We will play with you same way a cat plays with its food. Same way it was during the Gibbs era. Get out your reaction.
Maybe. I mean, I think that'd be better for the universe. Yeah, I think there'll be a healthy rivalry. That's what I think. I think we will be knocking each other out, which is why I want to see them in the playoffs so badly. I want this season, I want that game to be something that everybody looks back and like, yeah, this was the start of something. Because look, all you Eagles fans were talking all this shit last week, but have fun beating Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett was your god today or yesterday, wasn't he? You had no complaints about what he was doing, did you? Pieces of shit. You
right? Didn't hear a word. Did not hear a word about that.
Well, no, he was able to practice this week. Shut the fuck up.
We go over to the Nathan Perry shout out and shout out Ref the District one more time. Greatly appreciate you guys having us on. And if you don't listen to them, you're really missing out. So please like and subscribe to their channel as well. Nathan Perry goes, what I like about Remington and the other quarterback runs into the center is how it will impact future games. Teams have been playing more and more to contain the outside run. With these plays, they can't afford to cheat too much outside, and that can open up more plays. K-Dot, as the all-22 expert, as the guy with not 50, not 60, but 70 screens. What do you make of that comment?
I think you already saw some of that in this game with the varieties and the complexities of the runs that Cliff was able to throw in. It kept Atlanta guessing to a certain degree. And there became points in time where they were even I was trying to diagnose, all right, well, who they have is like, who's supposed to spy on that play? Does it even matter? Like, if they have a spy for him? Yeah, the shit that he was doing was otherworldly, but there were a lot more design quarterback runs that I remember in this game. And I remember seeing have success in this game compared to a lot of other games. I know some of that is when Atlanta does switch from zone to man, it makes it a lot easier to start getting those runs, but we were able to diagnose. Jayden was able to diagnose, and he was able to take advantage. And I do think it has to do with what Atlanta was seeing in the Eagles game, which predicated the way that I think they wanted to play him, and we switched it up.
Yep. Agreed right there. And then the other comment from the Nathan Perry, I need an explanation on the side piece Carolina fandom. All right, I'll make this one quick. So I believed that, one, I like Dave Canales being the head coaching hire because he had worked with Baker Mayfield and he had worked with Geno Smith in essentially back-to-back years. Both of them have career-type revivals. And for Bryce Young, I thought it was excellent. It's a lot of quick passing. I was a big fan of that. They also fortified the interior of the line with Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt. Liked that, especially for a guy that's shorter. I was reading about that as well at quarterback. Helps to have the interior be stronger. So I was like, cool. They're going to do better. They get Xavier Legette. At the time, Deontay Johnson, that looks terrible right now because now he's on his third team this season. But really, I thought the defense was the true underrated piece of the whole thing. Ejiro Evero, I think, is a highly underrated defensive coordinator. They had J.C. Horn, Derek Brown, Shaq Thompson, like all these guys. And I was like, I think they will actually be a very good defense paired with a sort of resurgent Bryce Young, if you will. That did not happen until way too late, and all the defensive pieces are gone and hurt. And it was a bad pick, just to be totally honest with you there, Nathan. But that's the explanation. Kid, you want to chime in? You want to take a couple shots at it?
If I'm feeling better about it, Arizona looked to be a bad pick too. Not as
help
bad.
A little bit. Not as bad.
Bad. Yeah.
No. And really, Nathan, I wanted to just be right. I wanted to be smart. Everyone hated Carolina. I was like, I can make it work. And I didn't. Go ahead.
It's like everybody knows this. Everybody knows the guy when you have the fantasy football draft, he makes that weird pick that you heard Matthew Berry talk about in like hour 2 of a podcast. And that person thinks he's the only person that heard that. So it's like, I'm more clever than anybody else. And then you see when the fantasy football season, that person did not do anything compared to what they thought. So like, yeah, you could be clever. You could try to be like super clever about stuff, but sometimes you just got to go what you got to go with. Look, I didn't hear any experts tell me that Kyle Pitts was the dude to back up this year, and I got to eat that. Although he looked pretty good today.
Nice cash today. Yeah, you did almost will that into existence last episode.
He was on my bench, and we and you were playing in fantasy.
I saw.
I had a really rough day.
You did. You did. You went against both Jayden and Zach Ertz. So yeah, pretty tough. And the LSU boys. Anyway, let's continue. We go to Mr. Payne one more time. Then we're going to Clarence Thomas. Then we're going to go to Coach with a few comments. And then we're going to go to post-game stuff, okay? So, Mr. Payne, before the game, AP hit on more draft picks in one season than Ron did in 4. Just amazing. This is also in reference to Fedarian Mathis being released by the team when Jonathan Allen got activated. So that's the timing of the comment there. K-Dot, your reaction to that?
Probably.
I think it's true. Yeah.
I mean, at this point, it's true. But once again, it goes to like what it is that I consider like a bust or not a bust or all that kind of shit. I just don't think that the coaching did any of these players any favors. And I still think that even if you had like a Christian Gonzalez or a Kyle Hamilton on this team, they're nowhere near as special as they are where they are right now.
100% agreed on that. No notes on your reaction to that, K-Dot. That's perfectly said. Clarence Thomas goes, the replies to Coach were both phenomenal. Philly fans sound like a stadium full of bands. And there's a party emoji and a couple sad emojis. Get out your reaction.
Wasn't directed just to Coach. The coach might have stoked some flames, but I wanted to help out everyone in the city of Philadelphia and anyone with any ties to the city of Philadelphia. Even my buddy Mauricio, he texted me today. It's like, did you hear? I said, what? We won the East. I was like, shut the fuck up. Leave me alone. You got anything to say about Kenny Pickett? No. Cool. Of course. Oh, no. He did say something. I texted more than one. My brother-in-law and some other people else in Philadelphia. Yeah. He said the Eagles won the NFC East. Crazy. I said, with a backup quarterback, none of y'all are complaining about this week. Congrats. He said, we couldn't have done it without you. And then heart emoji.
That's pretty funny.
It was good.
That's good. Coach with 3 comments. Here's the first one. Listen to the after the pod. Cracked me up. And with actual laughing emojis and stuff like that. So appreciate that, Coach. That's 1. 2. Thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate your perspective. Which Always Sunny character do you think I am? Kid, I'll let you answer that.
Oh, I got to do some thinking. I'm leaning towards Dennis. You shouldn't want to be Dennis.
I think Dennis makes the most sense right now. I'm thinking so too.
I think it's Dennis.
I think it's Dennis. And then the last one. So San Fran fans need to shut their mouths so long as we're consistent. So that is in reference to, we were talking about Brock Purdy being knocked out of the NFC Championship game and San Francisco fans bitching about it and Eagles fans going, nope, sorry, not going to hear it. We're on to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so that's more the point, is that if Eagles fans at that time are going, nope, sorry, don't want to hear it, we won the game, that's the double standard, right? That they then turn into the San Francisco fan that they said, shut up to, right? That they want it both ways. That was the point. Go ahead, K-Dot.
Partial point, but I think my overall point would be, if I heard San Francisco fans bitching in the moment about, well, if we had Brock Purdy, we would have won that game. Shut the fuck up. Shut up. Like, here's the thing. Once again, what I'm saying is so narrow focused that it shouldn't even be a big deal because it's just one of my strange beings.
Like, I got it. I'm
not bringing the whole thing back up. I'm just saying that, like, if you're an outsider looking at that game and you were to say, damn, I wish Brock Purdy didn't get hurt because I would have preferred to watch that game. If you've got no stake in it, you can say that. Perfectly fine. That's cool. That's all right. I'm about fan bases using it as an excuse. Fuck off.
Fair enough. Mr. Payne back. Now, this is all post-game now. Okay? This is... No, not yet. 2 of them are mid-game. Okay? These are mid-game. Mr. Payne goes, I hope AP, Adam Peters, improves our defense in the offseason. They suck. That's 1. 2. Was Michael Davis drafted by Riverboat Ron? Lots of laughing emojis on that one. Those are the 2 before the end of the game. K-Dot, your reaction.
Everybody in the defense did not have a good game. Like, I can't even point to the dudes that are usually the stalwarts and saying, like, okay, that was my Frankie Louvu game. That was my... Some people had some flashes. Dante Fowler, of course, had a couple flashes, but then he also had, like, a terrible penalty. Sanders still got his ass kicked. It had a terrible penalty. The Michael Davis bit, he pissed me off. And Benjamin St-Juste pisses me off. And either one of them are going to play as long as Marshawn Lattimore is hurt, and they're going to piss me off. Yes. I wish that they could do better, but what I do wish more than anything is that we stop shooting ourselves in the fucking foot, have an offense to go up 2 scores, and I got to worry about them.
Agreed. And it's also got to be said for those that were maybe just scoreboard watching and saw up until halftime and they see a 17-7 score and go, well, the Falcons only scored 7 points in the second half. So, like, surely the defense played a whole lot better. They did get a 3 and out. They did to start. But it was also sandwiched between 2 drives that were 7 minutes, 47 seconds long and 7 minutes, 3 seconds long. So we did such a good job on offense of chewing clock that there were so few opportunities for Atlanta to do anything with it in the second half. Okay, so it was punt, the touchdown, which was 2 fourth down conversions, basically, the second one being a touchdown to tie the game. And then they had a missed field goal where they drove down, again, inexplicably did not take their second timeout, and frankly should have won the game. They were easily in position to win the game, and they missed a field goal, a 53-yard field goal, 56-yard field goal short. That's what happened. Defense did not hold up on that final drive. And then the coin toss, heads, tails. They say heads, it's tails. We march down the field. They don't even get to touch the ball. K-Dot, what were you going to say?
If they did touch the ball, it might be a very different night.
Which, let me ask you this. It was 3rd down and goal from the 2. If we had not converted, I think it ended up being a false start if I remember correctly. But like if we hadn't converted, would you have gone for it? 4th down.
Yeah.
Me too. Yep. Andrew Lally also would have, just for what
I was just saying, you remember I've been calling on us just to be the 4th down team, and I have not been seeing any sort of wish-washiness over the last few weeks. They have been going for it.
They have been.
I'm all in, even when it doesn't work out your way like it did last week early on in that game. I'm still for it. I love the mentality of this team with it. I think the entire team plays differently when you know that this is what we're doing.
It does feel like we have that offensive identity now. and that we are being aggressive and playing with house money all over again. It's great to see.
Yep.
Mr. Payne, after the game, Jedi 5 is him. That's it. And he's right. Like, this kid is special. Awesome performance again. K-Dot, your reaction?
He's insane. And like, as we're going through this and as we're going through the episode, I'm realizing how much I'm like internally just thinking about everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
We won 11 games.
It's nuts.
We won 11 games. We have a franchise quarterback. We have a coaching staff that's worth a damn.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Snyder's not here anymore.
Yep.
It makes me want to be like a perpetual state of crying, like cries of joy. Like, it doesn't, I still don't think it computes. It's like, I don't know why my head went there.
No, it's beautiful. It's supposed to, because I think, and also oftentimes on this podcast, we are so like, let's talk about this game. Let's talk about moving forward, that we don't always like, I don't know if analyzing the game is technically correct, but we're talking about it like, and around it, that we don't sometimes just stop and be like, yo, that was so cool. And like, look at where we are and how far we've come, right? Like, for this to be our first 11-win season in 33 years, led by a superstar rookie quarterback who is not just a franchise quarterback. And shout out to Andrew Lally again for this comment, which was, we haven't found our franchise QB, because there are some franchise QBs like your Dak Prescotts and maybe your Jalen Hurts that are like good, but like still need a lot around them. Jayden seems to be, his ceiling seems to be like with the Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, like he seems to be able
to our
potentially
decade centerpiece.
Excuse me?
We found our decades-long centerpiece.
Yes. And not everyone has that, right? And certainly not in the NFC, right? So that's like, wow.
Yeah, we found there's a new generational face to the franchise, and that is something that we thought we had with RG3, and it was true, I guess, to some degree, until it all went to shit. And then, but you even look beyond that, Kirk Cousins, we could never get right with that, and you look before that, just the quarterback carousels and things. They thought maybe it was going to be Jason Campbell. That went away after a couple of years. Patrick Ramsey, absolutely not. Just didn't happen, even though I love him. Mm-hmm. You look back even beyond that, the Brad Johnsons and the Trent Greens and just never were our guy. Right. Matter of fact, if you think he'll be before that, Mark Rippon wasn't that. Doug Williams wasn't that.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, this is a first.
Truly.
I mean, this is like going back to Theismann or Sonny.
Yeah.
Like, this is what this could be. They were at the precipice of something like that. And to know that we have actual legitimate things that we can root for, it's insane. It truly is insane. I feel like I'm in a state of shock. Like, I can't even. Yeah, I do feel as I don't know if I even believe it.
Yeah. Well, this is a perfect time while K-Dot's in the state of shock to read the final comment, which is from Jess Santo. This is what I've learned after watching this game. Jayden Daniels is a psychopath. He enjoys nothing more in this world than getting the other team's hopes as high as they possibly can get for victory. Then he rips their still beating hearts out of their chests and then proceeds to devour them in front of their eyes before they expire. He played his most physical game of the year. I know we all swallowed our tongues when that linebacker rolled him over his leg, like we talked about. Apparently, he's made of some type of flexible substance in the lab he was created in. Terry had his first bad game of the year, but OZ played out of his mind to make up for it. The penalties were atrocious, and yet again, the run game was getting gashed in the first half. I guess they'd rather give up the rushing yards in the first half than the second. Chin, Martin, Fowler, and Wagner were the defensive standouts. Going into halftime, I was furious, livid even. But I knew there was hope with 5 at the wheel. The coaching staff has been noticeably better, constantly making in-game adjustments, clock management, and a never-say-die attitude. I'm sure Cousins was having RG3 flashbacks all night long. Penix and their B-Rob Penix and their B-Rob were great tonight. We need to give ourselves a pat on the back. That stadium was fucking rocking. Yes, it was, Jess. After all these years of suffering, we need to sit back and enjoy this one. It wasn't pretty, but we've got to realize that this lackluster roster is giving everything they've got every game for us. They are surpassing expectations by leaps and bounds this year. Hail yeah. Hail to the Commanders. Hail to victory. Share this shit. K-Dot, over to you.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Is like this to me is like it's the start of a new era. This is what that felt like. They hear the stadium on television to know what it is you probably just experienced yourself. To just know where this franchise has been for the decades at the point to where it is right now. It feels good. And yeah, as far as some of the guys that were standing, Quan Martin, you had the pick, and Jeremy Chin
had the
good hitting. Yeah. Good hitting. I mean, you guys also fucked up in other ways, but you had some moments. And there's one thing is like when I started, it was like, all right, our defense is physical. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's beautiful. And just to echo one more time, Jess, I think you said it beautifully. This roster, and I think that's what makes this season special, right? And once again, we've clinched the playoffs, which is, I had us making the playoffs as a 7 seed at 9 and 8. That was my prediction. And a lot of people would say that was an optimistic one. And I would say, yeah, you know what? I get that.
I thought you were high.
Thought I was high. 11 and 5 with the potential to be 12 and 5. Right? Like, but I really, Jess, you really hammered home the point. We're doing this with the highest roster turnover, with the talent hasn't hit yet, right? Like, we are getting the absolute most out of everybody, and that's what makes it special. Anytime you really feel a bond with the team is when you know they're giving their absolute all. We have that. And it's really been a blessing to be able to watch this team and feel like a 5-year-old kid again watching this team. I was so excited to go to that game today. And it was awesome that it ended up being an overtime game and a walk-off, and that was great. But just to see, like, team special. It's a really, really fun year. It's been an awesome year, guys. So
it's so dope.
Dope. This was a show. This was District Divided, a DC sports podcast, more specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. Thank you guys so much for listening. And Tony, it was awesome meeting you today, and we'll grab a beer next time. If you enjoyed the video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do, and K-Dot.
Share this shit! And congratulations, Jeremy Reeves, and your fiance.
Oh, congratulations, Jeremy Reeves.
Oh, you missed that?
I did, most certainly. But he was pumping the crowd up, so shout out Jeremy Reeves for pumping the crowd up, stuff like that.
Well, he proposed right post game, right there on the outside.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
No, I missed that. Congrats, Jeremy. That's fucking awesome. Damn, I'm pissed I missed that. All right, we'll see you guys next time for the Dallas Cowboys preview and an all-22 review with K-Dot. So until then, take it easy, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.